Hello everybody, welcome back. I do apologize that the break in this series was a little bit longer than intended. By the time you're seeing this, my first sponsored video with Hinckley will be out, and that project has been a little bit more lengthy than I thought it would be. I've had a couple of problems and scheduling issues, plus a few external factors slowing that down a little bit. But as I am here filming this right now, I am very close to the finish line, and that is part of why I'm back today. So I've still got the Atom up in the studio. I think I'm very close to done. I believe I am entirely done with the Atticus. I've got that hanging up back here. So obviously those will be going up on display. And while I'm not ready to get them up today, I can start doing some of the prep work to have the spaces open. Before we get to that though, I can do a couple of updates. Since the last vlog, all of the Alessandra videos went up, so I got this one put up over here. You can see back over here I have added this integrated Hunter light kit switch housing. This is part of all the general swapping around that's going to happen in this area. My general plan is to move this fan over into where this chandelier is. And in this location I prefer to have a light kit, but I don't really have any light options that I thought would really look good on this. I do have just a generic brushed nickel 3-light turtle fitter, which is basically the same thing as this, but I don't think it looks nearly as nice. So I did some reverse engineering with some spare parts to make this work. And the only reason I did this while it was still here is I wanted to make sure everything was going to work out before I moved it. Otherwise, plan B was probably just going to be leaving this here and then I'd put the Atom over here. But ideally I want to mix things up a little bit more, and I already have a longer down rod for this one that I can utilize with this weird location, whereas with the Atom I'd probably have to get another down rod to make it work, so this is really just the ideal situation. A couple of weekends ago I also went through and pre-planned pretty much all of the replacements for the rest of the core display. So now I shouldn't really have to take any time to plan as I go. It's all just go through and switch it out. I'm not going to go through everything right now because of course I want you to come back and watch the progress. And of course things are always subject to change in case I find something else I want to swap in. But it's always a bit of a relief having that planning portion done. It's always difficult as I get down to the last couple of spots trying to get in something unique and different than everything else. I think I spend more time picking those last couple of fans than I spend with anything else on the display. So anyway, pretty much all to say there will be plenty of content coming up getting everything changed out. As far as today, I think my first step is going to be getting the Cavelli taken down. I've been trying to decide what I want to do with that one, if I just take it down and box it up or switch it out with this one. But what I think I've ultimately decided is I will take the Cavelli and put it in place of the Erie, and then I'm going to take the Erie and put it in place of this chandelier. I have the down rod for it that I think will put it at the appropriate height, and why not add something else with a fan while we can. I will say I would probably rather put the Cavelli here because the cage is a little bit more open and you can see through it a little bit better, but I've gone through my down rods and I really just don't have anything that's going to work well. I could just use the brushed nickel one that I have for this one, but finish coordination drives me insane, and this one is going to be hanging down into the space where you can really see it, so I just don't think that I can live with that. It's really not going to impact the sightlines that drastically differently, so it'll all be fine and I'll just use what I have. So actually, I'm going to pivot slightly and we're going to start over here and focus on this one. I can get my chandelier taken down, this moved over, and that will open up this space when I'm ready to move that one. Alright, I've got my mounting board reset. I'll get this chandelier pulled down, get the down rod put on, and we'll get it installed. Okay, completely tied up with this one. I had to go back in real quick and change the remote codes because these controls were actually interfering with the Alessandra. So I got that resolved, and now I'm ready to move on to this one. I haven't measured or anything to make sure, but I'm gonna see if I can hang this on the existing down rod. If I can't, I'm gonna have to take a minute to go out and dig out the shorter one, but I wouldn't mind this one hanging lower, so I'm just gonna see if it fits first. Alright, I think this fit is actually great. I like the height that the fixture itself is at, and it's definitely not worth taking 15 minutes to go dig out the shorter rod. So I'm gonna quick get this one wrapped up, and then we will move back down to that end. That's it. We are done on this end for the time being. Alright, I just did a bunch of extra work. I got it popped up here and it just felt like it was hanging too low. In reality, it wasn't like people were going to hit it, but especially here at the entrance coming down the stairs, it felt a little too close for comfort. So since I don't even use this electrical box for power at this location anymore, I just did away with it entirely and shoved it off to the side. I'll have to get a cover for that. I thought I had some still laying around, but I can't find them right now. And then I also removed the secondary board that was mounted to the first board up here. That entire setup really only existed from when the weave was in this location, and I had to get it set just right with the weird downrod length. That was a pretty niche situation, and I figured it was probably best to just go in now and reformat this to work with a standard 12-inch downrod. I feel like this will be much more universal for 99% of other products that will go here in the future. When I was looking around for these octagon covers, I also found this coupling cover that I think is from an Academy. When this fan was hanging in my apartment, I always thought it would look so much better with a coupler cover up there. I always kind of hoped that I would find something during cleanup week that I could snag one from, but I never did, and that entire time I had this one sitting in my parts stash. This one is kind of oversized and a little bit bigger than I would prefer, but it gets the job done, and I think it does actually look better than the exposed coupler. So I have glass that I'm going to get cleaned up and try to complete this one. That leaves this spot open for the Atom, and then really the only other thing I was going to do is get the Trento pulled down, and this is where the Atticus will go. I am running slim on time, so I don't think I'm going to get to this today, but I'm going to try to get this done, and then I'll be back to close out for today. Alright, after taking much longer than expected, this one is done. I tried to pick some of the smaller shades I had on hand. These ones still kind of look too big, so I may have to play around with that a little bit more. I am definitely out of time to do any more with this right now, so by the time I come back to check in, I will probably be done with all the Hinckley stuff and will be ready to get those pieces put up. So I will sign off for now, and I will see you back soon. Hello, I am back. I'm basically just going to pick up where I left off. First things first, I got this glass switched out to something that's a little more proportional to the fan. A little bit more satisfied with that end result now. And from there, I'm just moving on to the Trento, getting it pulled down and boxed back up. Done with this one, all reboxed. I have not yet gone live with any of the Hinckley stuff. I believe I am done with all parts of production, so realistically I could get these put up, but I am just going to hold off a little bit longer because I swear with product spotlights I always forget one little component. I've gotten really good at double and triple checking, but just in case there is that one little thing, I'm not going to make it harder on myself to get things back into the studio if I need to. So I think what I'm going to do is move back into the rest of the display. And the first thing I want to do is relocate what I believe is the only thing on the main display that is staying. I paid a little bit of money to get this airflow and I'm not done enjoying it yet. But since it has been up before, I am going to move it a little bit more into the back end. And I'm going to put it in place of this Comfort Breeze. And due to its overall design, it does hang a little bit higher. So a while ago on eBay, I grabbed these extra New Old Stock Homestead rods. This one is a little bit longer than the standard rod, so I'm going to use it to just drop it down a little bit more for this back side. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get at least this move done, and then I'll probably have to take a little bit of a break, and then we'll see if I come back to do anything after that or not. Alright, sorry for the horrendous lighting, but I got the fan moved. Didn't really record anything there. I was trying to move as fast as possible. I'll still have to come back through and put a control in, but I will come back around for that. Like I said, I do need to take a little bit of a break here in the middle, but I do think I will be back later tonight. I'm back. I don't have a ton of time, but I'm going to try to capitalize on whatever I can. So I'm returning to this location that's been vacated by the airflow, and in that spot I'm going to pull out my WF series. This one's an OG classic that I haven't had out for quite some time. It was one of the ones that came down to tough final decisions, trying to get the right variety in the mix. So I'll get started pulling this out. I am going to put on a slightly shorter down rod because otherwise it's just going to be way too low, and I will catch back up with you shortly. Just about done here. Once again, not recording too much. I'm just trying to make some good time tonight. I will need to steal this globe to finish up because it's my only one of this shape. It's the flatter schoolhouse, and I think anything else on a WF series looks wrong. So I will get this finished up, and then I think there's one more location I want to tackle tonight. Alright, done with this one. Added some tassels because you just have to with a fan like this. And I threw the globe that came off the Comfort Breeze earlier back on here just to finish it off because I don't think I'll get back to this one for a while. I think there will be much excitement over what's going up in this location. It is something that in the past I have said I wasn't sure if it would ever work on the core display, but I have messed around and rigged something up that I think is going to work. That being said, I still do not know 100% if this is going to work out the way I need it to, so stay tuned and we will figure this out together. Alright, so I told myself if there were any problems, I would check back in and we would troubleshoot together on camera. Somehow, though, everything went seamlessly and worked out exactly as I had hoped. So I am all done and tied up here, and we can go right into a grand reveal. Many people have requested this Sanyo since I got it. The original downrod is far too long to go on the main area of the display. I always thought maybe eventually I would put it down in this corner. This is kind of the only feasible location where that type of thing would work, and I may still do that someday and put the small Sanyo that I have back in place next to it. I think that would be kind of a cool moment. But when I was planning out all these changes, I saw this hanging up in the back, and I really wanted to figure out how to get it up now. So I was able to rig up a shorter downrod and a ball and socket mounting system. Gives me the best possible headroom and the shortest possible drop, and it really doesn't hang that much lower than some of the other standard fans on display. So I am super thrilled about this one. It fulfills a long time request for many people, and I really didn't know if it was going to be possible until I tried. So now that it's up, this one will probably make its way around the display for a little bit. It's just one of those that is too cool to not have up for a while. So whether it moves around somewhere else on the main display after this year's National Ceiling Fan Day video, or if I plan out this corner thing, I do plan on having this one up for a couple of cycles. So that is going to wrap it up for me tonight. I would have liked to have gotten a little bit more done, but there's just not time. I am not exactly sure when I'm going to be back, so I may do one of those things where I check where I'm at for footage. If I'm able to close this one out and make a video of it, I will do that, and if not, I will come back and tack more onto the end. So for now, I will see you later, and we'll see what the next clip brings. Hello, as promised, I am editing this video, and seeing that it is almost 16 minutes already, I am going to go ahead and close out. Today is also going to be Hinckley launch day. I am just finishing up final details here. So very early in the next video, we should be able to get these fans up on display. For now, I will wrap this one up. Thank you all for watching. Apologies again that this one took a little bit longer to get out. Remember to subscribe and ring the notification bell before you leave to get updates for all of my new videos, and I will see you next time.